Hello friends, I'm Colonel Failure, and welcome back to Bulldozer Power and their continuing charge through the second season of Motorsport Manager. We're reviewing the driver's progress at the end of the previous race, which I have to say was probably my most disappointing so far from my career in charge of the team. I'm decidedly displeased with the result that we got last time round, but well, never mind. We have to go onwards and upwards. As we see, both drivers gaining a little bit of talent as a result of the last race. We're just going to have to go onwards and upwards. Now, Nicholas Hazel, for those of you who did not tune in last time around, has picked up a trait where he's going to play rogue for a little while. And that's given him a +1 to every stat he's got. Now, if you compare that to Vanessa's abilities at the moment, realistically, Nicholas is a significantly better driver right now, apart from braking. It was suggested in the comments that the smart thing to do would be to give young Mr. Hazel some really hectic brakes in order to make up for the fact that his brakes are, or his braking ability is lousy. And actually, I think that might be a good call. So there we go. The last race: Sarah Thomas in first, Hans 00 second, Derek Henderson in third. Championship overall, Henderson still top with Rowe in second and Price in third. As far as teams are concerned, we're languishing in ninth. Realistically, it looks like we're just going to be stuck there for the rest of the season now, unless we can turn around some good results. But honestly, with the developmental budget that I've got remaining, I can't see that happening. But we'll see how things pan out. So the Gazzetta dei Motori is back in my inbox with yet another interview request. What do we got here? Nicholas Hazel has claimed that your brakes seem to be holding the team back. Oh, okay. The technical commentators seem to agree. Well, everybody's aligned on this one. I have to hold up my hands. Our brakes are awful. He needs to button it. We need investment in our HQ. I think our brakes are actually are garbage. Oh, well, that's taken 10% off the marketability of the team. Good. Well, that was an interview that went very well. Arnold Boycott for the Evening Herald, reviewing the race just run. Winning Firebird MRT boss Hugo Cumberland collected the team's trophy. Looked delighted as he downed the champagne. Oh, I wish I knew what champagne tasted like. Okay, so the car's been repaired. Let's have a look at the development we've got going on. So if we look at our brakes, we've actually got a good set here that just need... I mean, the reliability is bang on. So maybe let's just get the performance being worked on, I suppose. Now, in terms of reliability, I mean, we're getting close now. The engine reliability still needs some work. 68% for the second engine is okay, but a little bit more, and I'll be happier with that. Everything else, however, doesn't look so bad. It doesn't look too bad at all. Apart from the suspension. Suspension's also pretty terrible. But I'm going to keep working on the performance and the reliability I set up right now, and hopefully that will have some kind of impact. Well, we've also got an empty sponsorship slot right now, and we really do need the money to get us through the season before we head out to Munich for the next race. Let's have a look here. So the choice is Luxina, 12th or above. They'll offer us 300 grand up front with a 250 grand bonus. Or Golden Tiger will give us 900,000 up front. Target position easier. Bonus position better. Well, I'm going to snap that up. Now, usually you'll get 3 offers in, so we'll wait for that third offer to come in, but at 900 grand up front. And a more achievable position. That sounds decidedly tasty. And then, of course, after the next race, we have 2 more sponsors that are expiring. Oh, that's the stuff. 2 more expiring sponsors. So hopefully we'll be able to get something out of that. Now, with the prospect of having an extra 900 grand coming in, I'm going to develop another part. That's the smart thing to do, right? Yeah, and we'll go with brakes. Brakes are critical for the next race. So yeah, I'm totally going for the next part. Right, let's have a look. On no condition loss on first race. Well, that's a big whoop right there. Is a lot of rubbish. However, let's have a look here. What do we got? So, do we make it risky? Well, there's no risk in any of these on the first time out, so we'll go straight for deceleration. And then on good stuff, what do we got here? This one, plus 50 deceleration. That's brilliant. Build time plus 2 days. That's not so bad. But 15 to max and 20 deceleration by default. That's okay. Reliability in red zone. No, we'll go with that one. We'll keep the risk off for now. Those who have said that I should be, fundamentally ignoring the risk aspect, but just not using the parts and saving them for next season. I have heard you, and we will be most definitely doing that towards the end of the season, but not right now. Now I've got another slot available because we need an R&D facility in order to add great factors onto there. So I wonder, do we take the risky stuff and hold them for next season? I don't want to do that. I think we'll take the extra reliability. That's not going to make these great. I know. I want extra deceleration, so we'll take an extra basic rather than good, even though that's less overall. I mean, I'd be very tempted to take the risky part there. Should I take the risky part? I mean, the money's basically thrown away if we ever get busted using it. Do we gamble? That's the thing. Because I'm going to, regardless of what happens, I am going to use these brakes. So, that's happening anyway. Right, what are we looking at here? 50% reliability base, 129 of 157, it's saying. Or, if we get rid of that and put that on, 169 of 197. Not quite as reliable. I'm going to take the reliability. I know it's a chicken way out, but let's do it. Let's do it, and we'll work on something better still towards the end of the season. Okay, so we now have our third sponsorship offer in place. Deutsche Air are offering. It's rubbish. 11th, they'll pay me 300 grand. Well, I'm never likely to hit 11th, so we'll take Golden Tiger's offer here. Thank you very much. Yeah. Slap it on the car, son. Thank you very much. I will spend that money wisely. Or, well, more likely I will spend that money quickly. And then we'll all be happy as we ride to victory together. So the World Motorsport Championship reports back from Guildford halfway through the season, round 8 of 16, and James Fishburne has come in first, not for the first time this season, with A. Veloz and P. Shoot in second and third accordingly. That still leaves Johnson, who could only, actually, where is Johnson? Johnson could only manage 11th place this time for Scuderia. With Veloz now tying it up for Panther, joint first, Reaper 8-6, James Fishburne, P. Shoot, Ardon immediately behind those guys. But it looks like it's going to come down to Johnson Veloz for the run into the season. But based on 8-6's position in third, Panther, I would suggest, have the better car right now, as they are 4 points ahead at the top of the table. Looking at the Asia Pacific Super Cup coming back from Yokohama, and Carlo T. Curious is in number one with Click Buyao and Ebony Tyler in second and third. Curious there also gained 2 extra points for qualifying on pole, which puts Wolf Bite for Boa Esperanca up in top still, with Carlo now pulling into second. Bite actually managed fourth in the race. So Freddie reports back that we've now finished our new brakes. Performance 129 of 157. Reliability is already at 50%, but I want to get that into the 70s ideally before the next race. because we're going to need to do that. We're working our suspension up already, now up to 59%. Again, 70 is my target there. So the new brakes, let's see how they slot in against everything else we've got. 129, 157, there's the new brake set. The existing best brakes that we had are, they're incredibly reliable. We're currently working on their performance to get them up a little. So let's bang that in over there. Now, we haven't put a lot of resource up against the reliability push there, so I'm going to transfer just a couple of... in fact, we'll split 50-50 for now. It means we won't complete the work on either until after the next race, but that's okay. As long as we get general improvement for all the parts that we've got in right now, that should be good enough. Okay, Ernie Heckle-Rock is sat here in my inbox once again. And as he did last season, he's inviting me to bribe him with £1 million to decide what the next vote is going to be for the GMA. To which we say, get out, you absolute parasite. Honestly, I have no truck with that kind of corruption. Now, I'm looking at our bank balance here. It's one of the things that I should look at, I suppose. We're coming up on it on race 6 of the season, and in the season there are, in fact, 10 races. I have got 5 million left, and it's costing me 600 grand a race, which means I've got enough to develop another part. Now that our brakes are done, let's keep it going. And this time I think I probably will go with something risky if risky is available. So gearbox and brakes we've already got good and great sorted. Engine we could do with a better set. Suspension we could do with a better set. Engine obviously is the expensive option. And we should probably look at that. Stuff it. Let's spend the money here. Right. So what do we got? 25 to max top speed, 15 to top speed. Risk level 1, maybe, and then in fact, I would rather do that once we've got this one done. So we'll just take 20 to top speed, pure extra power there. Extra 35 top speed, but there's 20 to top speed, but 20% less reliability, or more reliability, more top speed. Well, reliability early in the season is the big gun. That's what makes a massive difference. But we've already got that, and we're already losing reliability on soft supers and ultras. So I think we'll take the one that gives us just a smidge more reliability, as well as maybe not quite as much top speed, but it is going to add some at least. And better still, this is going to be ready before the race. So if it's strong enough, then we could see the debut of this engine in the next race. Doubtful, but we'll see. Well, my mailbox is overflowing. We've got some scouting reports in. So Yuko Chajima is one of the weakest drivers in the European Racing Series. I'm not going to take your word. My goodness me, you're not wrong. Yuko is a disaster of a driver. No traits that I find valuable at all. You are not going to be driving for me. Then Sophia also reports that Shenki is a below-average driver, an aptitude for overtaking, but consistency is our biggest problem. Let's have a look. Okay, well, overtaking's all right. Feedback's not bad. Wonderkind, potential plus 50. Okay. Chatty, extra feedback. Okay. And racing snowmobiles. Yeah, no, because what I'm looking for here is a test driver. Ideally one who will pay me money for the privilege of test driving, and none of these candidates so far are doing this. Ping Xiao would not be one of the best. Her potential is huge, though. Given a chance, she could be one of the best drivers around. Ping's best is a Focus. Let's have a look here. Ooh, terrible at braking, which actually is improved by the fact that she drives stock cars. And that's a 4-star potential going on, 4 and change even. Interesting. But again, it's not really ticking the box. 17 focus is pretty good though, and the improvement rate's pretty spectacular too. Could be a heck of a driver. We'll keep our eye out for Ping when it comes round to contract time. Meanwhile, a handling development centre has been opened. I didn't think I was building a handling development centre, but hey, that's good. Right, handling development centre. Let's go to the HQ here and see exactly what we've got going on. Nothing huge I can see here. However, what design? We are the best designers on the grid. We have the second best factory on the grid. Okay. We've got the third best staff. However, performance is awful, and the staff and brand is actually second best on the grid. What's going on? Well, how am I stinking the place up so badly then? Upgrade buildings. Let's have a look. Design centre, 15 million. Factory, 15 million. Ooh. Staff centre, 7.5 million. Well, I can't afford any of that. What else have we got here? Brakes R&D, yeah, 8 million, 4.5. No, this is all out of my price bracket. Apart from a helipad, which unlocks 5-star sponsors. I don't think 5-star sponsors are going to be that interested in me for quite some time. Plus, we're now down to 3.5 million. We've got 4 races to go at 600 grand a pop. That it's costing us. Actually, probably a little bit more than that now that the site's been upgraded. So I've got enough to at least design one more part, but that all goes straight out the window if I lash all that cash away on a new building of some description. So we've got scouting facilities available, and we will keep looking at the young'uns because I'm definitely looking for. There's the 3 that we just looked at. In fact, there are all the ones we just looked at. We are looking for a driver who's going to pay to be my test pilot. Let's have a look. Everybody else isn't interested. All right, let's go older. What else have we got here? There's Gomez, still unemployed. Playmoto's unemployed. Interesting. How good are you, Playmoto? What's your feedback like? Feedback, that one there. Okay, is an overtake specialist, yes. Won't join a team with megahertz. Entourage, yes. Party animal. Well, marketability is nice, but no, I don't. You're not bringing anything that I particularly need there, Play. Apologies, but unfortunately, that's not happening. Anybody else who is currently under? Click the unsigned button. That will make life easier. Gomez and Ferrara are unsigned. Ferreira, I beg your pardon, are unsigned at present, but that's not it. Okay, let's up the age rating once more. Otherwise, we're going to be looking at people whose contracts are ending, which is I'm fine with that. Keris Young, don't know. So let's. She's 31, but I don't care how old they are, as long as they are willing to give me cash, which might seem a little mercenary. And that's okay, because it is mercenary. Right, let's have a look at the people whose contracts are coming up at the end of the season. Here we go, 2017 crew. So we're scouting the last 2 unsigned drivers. That's good. Let's Hong Lao. I was fairly certain we'd looked at Hong previously. Interesting. Okay, well, let's ignore that then. We won't get General 4-star or Derek Henderson because they are both top flight drivers. Adrian Earl, though, we might. So let's make him our 3rd scouting target for now. News report coming in from UKSN. Silvera, the distractions are over. It's just racing for me from now on. In an emotional interview earlier today, Bulldozer power driver Vanessa Silvera admitted she's been very distracted from her driving in recent months. I've had a lot going on in my life. It's taken me a while to realise what I was put on this earth to do. Race, said Silvera. Starting from now, I'm redoubling my training regimen and making sure that all my energy is spent on driving. I want to be the best driver I can be. Renewed passion +1 across the board. Well, all that talk about giving Hazel the best kit, we might have to review that when it comes time to putting the cars together. We're also not far off having our new engine done. Although we've got emerging things. There we are. Kurt is saying we are currently 9th place, and this is bang on your original target of 9th. Not bad at all. Okay. Hans 00. It's Hazel. Once again. As being an absolute nightmare. Not only does he constantly belittle me when talking to the press, but now he's saying I'm not ERS material. What should I do? Honestly, you can tell this guy's like, he's a bit young and a little bit inexperienced at such things. Don't take it personally, dude. Just rise above it. Anyway, channel your anger into racing, which gets him aggressive, or get your head down, which gives him hard worker. Do we want aggressive or do we want hard worker? Do we want someone... Yeah, no, go. No, give in to the dark side, man. That's what we want from you. I want you causing accidents as often as it pays off. Let's have a look. What's that actually giving him? So aggressive, +2 overtaking. Oh, yeah. That's 17 overtaking he's got now. That's brilliant. And given that he's terrible at braking, this can only end well. Right, back to the inbox. Upcoming report on Munich. 25-lap race, 3 miles, so that's quite a quick lap. 1 minute 36 is the record. Likely to be some rain with a 40% chance. You say that, but, who knows? Anything could happen where the weather is concerned. Okay, Freddie's back. Freddie wants a telemetry centre. Freddie wants to get a new record. We've also finished the new engine. 120 of 133 performance, reliability at 45%. That is not going to be reliable enough for the coming race. What have we got left? 5 days before we set sail for Munich. The suspension has been beefed up to the extent that I'm happy with it now. Those brakes, I'd be much happier if it was a little higher. Over on the performance side of the team, what are we looking at here? 123 for the brakes and 142 for the gearbox. It would be lovely to be able to get that engine ship shape before the race, though. So I'm gonna drop everything off there. We'll bang the new engine into performance. No, into reliability. There we go. 14 days after the race. So we're going to assume, hold on, let's have a look at our braking situation here. We've got a 96, we've got a 67, but there's 30 points of difference. So the 65 is not going to be high enough for reliability. Actually, the 65 isn't, the 67 is not going to be high enough either. So we need to keep the brakes in. The engine isn't going to be ready. I think we can safely say that the engine isn't going to be ready for race day. So the World Motorsport Championship has concluded its race in Milan, rounds 9 of 16. Veloz at the top of the table, again, not for the first time this season. Johnson with a broken neck in second, Reaper 86 in third. And that, I think, really does nail down that Panther have got it going on right now. Meanwhile, in the Asia-Pacific Super Cup from Dubai, Andrea Floridi reaffirms himself at the top of the table for McNeil Racing. With a superb win, and that was from pole position. I beg your pardon, she has finished top, following everything that I just said. Magnus Krantz in second, Click Boyu. I've never been able to work out how to pronounce that. Click has actually been present relatively frequently throughout the season, but is still only 5th overall in the standings. Really needs a pole, a top win. A top of the podium, a king of the hill, queen of the hill in her case, in order to kind of propel her up the standings, but has been present all season. And when you look at Elzar, who is down in 16th place overall, their teammate there's clearly some skill going on from Click. Sophie Richards reporting from Central Sports Network with some pre-race preview bites. Just before we head out to Munich. Derek Henderson's going in top of the hill. David McNamara, the former drivers, all they seem to do is comment on the existing drivers. Can't see that changing. Rowe's not going to make up too much ground in Germany. Henderson's driving too well. 4 races to go. Derek Henderson claims he's not feeling the pressure of being the man to catch, says the Arzu Motor Team man. We're having a shocking season. says struggling driver Nicholas Hazel. I think the higher-ups need to have a long, hard look at what we're doing here at Bulldozer Power, because as a team, we're having a really tough time. It's the car. The car is the problem. It's a pile of crap. I mean, we're doing our best at putting new parts together for it, but we don't seem to be able to catch up. Hello, it's Kurt. Hello, Kurt. Extremely concerned about the state of the team's finances. There's still a long way to go in the season. The coffers aren't looking too healthy. You need to make money. You may need to make the money last. I hope this won't impact your performance in the last few races. I've got it, Kurt. Hello, Kurt. I would quite like some money. Please? There you go. There's £1.5 million. Kurt, I fixed the problem, mate. It was easy. I got you to give me some cash. All right, now quit your griping. There we go. That was simple enough to resolve there. So we're about to head out to Munich for the race, and the decision has to be made as to which parts we're going to fit ahead of this race. The brand new engine has only 53% reliability, and that's just lousy. In terms of performance, it's actually twice as good as the next best thing we have. That's the horns of a conundrum. Right there. The good news is that the new brakes, they're now up to 70% reliability. That's much better, but frankly, it's no good at all. We've got more staff available for actually improving things, and we can work on more parts at a time, thanks to the updates to the headquarters. But it's too late for this race. Do we want a potentially flaky engine, or do we want one that is reliable but awful? I mean, don't get me wrong, the one that is less reliable isn't exactly stellar. Right, let's fit parts of the cars. Let's have a look here. So, Hazel, we're going to give Hazel some decent brakes for once in his life. Right, what do we got here? What's the best brakes we've got? There you go. You can have these brand new hot and crispy brakes. We'll keep Silvera on the brakes she's got right now. Extra reliable. She should be happy with that. Engine wise, do we chance it? I think we do. We go big, go home. We've made the man. Silvera's now hacked off, presumably. Because shouldn't she have the higher performance car than Nicholas? Hush, hush, hush. You should be having the higher results than Nicholas. So how about you shut it? We'll also, since she's already hacked off, oh no, that's made her more hacked off. Actually, what are her stats here? Almost double digits everywhere, apart from overtaking. Bit nervy when it comes to overtaking. Whereas your man here, overtaking, he's a belter. Absolutely awful at braking. I'm going to chance it. Since he's micromanaging his own setup throughout the race, I'm gonna give him everything. There you go. You can have grade A across the board. And if Vanessa doesn't like it, she can lump it. We'll see if young Mr. Hazel can get a result for us. So choosing a sponsor ahead of the race, if we manage to get first, Ishikawa Whiskey will give us 1.2 million. That'd be nice. If we can get sixth, we'll get 650 grand. If we can get 13th, we're gonna go very low risk here. The parts we've chosen, I've just set up. So let's head to the Black Forest, ready for the Munich Grand Prix. So it is raining in Munich for the practice session. The forecast actually being relatively accurate for once, and that's, well, so be it, frankly. So yeah, we'll still make this work no matter what. Hopefully we can actually get something working for the race this time. I'm going to put Hazel out and Silvera out. Given that Megna is not a real driver, she's just a phantom, an illusion, a fiction of your imagination. Then I don't care that she's got more feedback. Car setup. Okay, let's go. We're on inters to start off with. The forecast for this practice session is that it is going to ease off after the first stint out there. How much water there is on track after that point, we don't know yet, but we'll find out, I'm sure. Right, let's up the downforce here to around 27 and 17, which puts us right on the border of what's acceptable. I doubt that extraordinary downforce is going to be the way to go, but you know, we'll see how we get on. Now, given that high downforce is required, I expect that a certain amount of oversteer is also welcome. So we're going to try that as well. And an acceleration is quite clearly going to be king, coming out of all of those hardened corners. Inters is the right way to go at the current time. So let's have a look at Vanessa's setup. I know, yeah, no one more surprised than me that I'm actually being a little bit more on target, I guess, with my initial setups. Right, wants a bit more oversteer, I think. We will try and get this right early. And then we'll regret that and go back to where we were before. And then I'm going to leave the gear ratio exactly where it is, and we'll see what we get out of that. There we go. Both drivers now exiting the pits for their first session. We'll put them on relatively action-oriented strategies as we hit the track for the first time. And we'll advance to a suitable speed level that means we're not sat here all day watching them effectively not finish a lap. I have considered leaving one driver out there for the entire stint both times. It means we only get to tweak their setup once rather than twice if we want them to have any practice with that setup. It was suggested in the first season that tweaking their setup before the race to something they weren't familiar with could be disastrous, but you know, we'll see how we get on. Actually, I'm going to leave Silvera out for one extra lap so that she can put a time in, and then we'll see where she gets to from there. Perfect gear ratios apparently, but we'll bring Hazel in and adjust his car this time around so he won't complete a full lap. There we go. So the track is now drying out. The rain has ceased. Hazel there is being incredibly aggressive, given that we're only in practice. He's really thrown the argy-bargy there. So Silvera set the fastest lap for the first and the last time. We'll tell her to come in next time around. So Mr. Hazel, and it looks like he's actually pretty happy with how the car is. Could do with a little bit more downforce. Doesn't like the handling, but the speed balance is right where he wants it. So we're going to need a bit more downforce, it looks like. I don't want to go too far with it, because that way lies madness. Now, does he want oversteer? Does he want understeer? I'd be surprised if he wanted oversteer, given that we're already quite aggressive. So I'm going to take it a little bit towards understeer. And we'll see how he gets on. Tyre choice. Well, the track's now drying out. Doesn't look like rain in the near future, so we'll put him out on soft tyres to see how he feels about that. So Silvera's on her in lap right now, and actually she's holding third in practice. Now, obviously, nobody else has really tweaked their cars yet. But for Silvera to actually be third place after this opening session is pretty promising. You want less balance towards top speed? You betcha. Well, hopefully you're going to give me the kind of information that's going to make a massive amount of difference. I would hope that the bands into which we now tweak the car. No, see, you've not told me anything more than I would get normally. So we're going to up the downforce. Now, Hazel was feeling pretty good about the 16.5 that he was running, so we're going to try this on 17 on the strength that, you know, even though they are running slightly different cars, the similarities should be there to kind of make it work. Also, it looked like Hazel was keen on a bit more understeer than he'd previously been getting. So we'll try that too. And then we'll drop the gear ratios a little more towards acceleration, and hopefully that will help. But the car setup as it is pretty lousy. Right, let's check the tyre setup. We'll go for softs here as well, and we'll send her back out again. Meanwhile, let's have a look at Hazel. Now this time I'll leave Hazel out for an extended run this time round. While he's on his outlap, we don't want to push too hard, but we'll adjust that setup ready for his flyer, which is starting right now, and he's off and he's away. Now Hazel in the race situation will adjust for himself how he drives, but at present it's this is more about, you know, what can he learn about that car. Those tweaks to the downforce are great. He likes it at the moment, but we're going to see how well he performs. Silvera's lap time, meanwhile, is enough to only grant her third. And it started raining again. I swear that I looked. And it's only going to keep raining. Oh, what a load of rubbish. And they're both now out on the wrong flaming tyres. This is terrible. Shall I bring them back in now? We've got enough time to come in and then set lap times. Yeah, let's do it. Everybody in. So Hazel just set the slowest lap time of anybody, but that's probably because he's on dry tyres and it is not dry. The track, in fact, is absolutely sodden. So we're gonna come back out on wets. I don't think that's going to leave us. It's not going to leave us enough time to record a full lap, but it will give us one last stab at getting the settings right on these cars. And hopefully we can translate that into some performance when we actually hit the race. If we're very lucky, we'll get out just ahead of the end of the showtime here. Right, let's have a look. Silvera is now saying the gamble was on handling, and she loves it, loves the handling. The speed balance is only good. Interesting. Previously, speed balance poor. Speed balance now good. We can go a little more towards acceleration. Blink. And maybe that will be all the change that we need. Anyway, let's switch to wets. Get back out there. Meanwhile, El Hazel, he's now saying this is very promising. Excellent on the downforce, excellent on the handling, great on the speed balance. That's about as good a setup as I've seen any car have this season. I'm not touching it. He can go back out on the same setup again, and you know, just get used to driving the thing with wet weather tyres, and maybe that will help. Maybe it won't. Should learn a little bit ahead of the race. Maybe unlocking some additional bonuses as we head into the real race. The real risk, of course, for this race is that Hazel's engine is diabolical when it comes to reliability. And given that he is managing his own performance throughout the race, he can put his foot down anytime he feels like it. Frankly, I am expecting to have to repair his car at least once. The only thing I can hope is that we're doing that at the point where he's in for a pit stop anyway. Spending an extra 10 seconds in the pits might be terrible, in any situation. But frankly, that's the time that you're going to spend time in the pits anyway. So you might as well, avoid making a subsequent pit stop. So nothing good to report about lap times. Vanessa only managed to beat Swans and Nicholas, but as regularly discussed, the Predator Racing Group is a big pile of poo. So beating them is nothing to write home about. So here it is, social media time. Ander Prevet is a fan at Bulldozer Driver. You need a better driver than Vanessa Silvera unless you want to come last all season. Thank you. The Evening Herald. I wonder what the issue was for Bulldozer Power today. They weren't at the races. I didn't look at the forecast, clearly. Tasha Wainwright. Pretty lame pro section for Bulldozer Power. Yeah. World Sports Network, Hank Lipman reporting. Looks like Mendez is driving well this weekend. I've never heard of Mendez. Who's Mendez? Wonder if that can continue into the race. Who's Mendez? Mendez, working for Octane Racing. 22 years old. And... 22 years old. 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 22 years o there's the details. So here we go, it's race day. We are starting out dry. Exactly how long it will remain dry remains to be seen. The forecast itself is for dry for the first 4 laps. And frankly, I would be foolish to gamble on the weather turning later on. So I'm going to try and keep both drivers out as quickly for as long as possible. So given our lack of choices here, we're going to take both of the standard choices, and we'll see where we get to. Now Vanessa gets a bonus to intermediates if they come out, whereas Nicholas is getting a good bonus on his super softs, and hopefully, you know, that'll result in something promising. Both cars are set up quite nicely. Both drivers pleased with the cars that they have. Hazel doesn't respond well to instructions at present, I believe. However, we're gonna put them both on max thrash off the grid, and then we'll ease them down. I mean, I'm sure Hazel will sort it out for himself because he doesn't listen to me anymore. Front of the grid, Mush and Hazel, then Plastic, Megahertz, Chris Shaw and Reverend Plastic on the 3rd row. In 7th is Samone Longo and Vanessa Silveira right alongside him. On the 5th row, Maiko Kitasato and Sean Mendez. Then we have Trolley Fodder, Hong Lao, P. Ruto, Finger Puppet on the 7th. Then in 15th is Sarah Thomas right next to Playmoto, who's having a decent season so far. Hans Double Zero and Scott Price are on the 9th row before Espen Rowe and championship leader Derek Henderson. So here we go, we're on the grid. A critical start. And we're away from 3rd place there. Swans Plastic really got a foot down, but it's Hazel that capitalises. Hazel is out in front, and we know from history that Hazel being out in front is no bad thing. I'm going to ease back on Vanessa's orders just a little. She'll either perform or she won't in this early stage, but I'll leave her to that, and I'm immediately going to push Hazel down, who seems to be following instructions for reasons I don't fully understand. I thought he was doing his own thing these days, but he seems to be keen enough to follow instructions right now. Megahertz is pushing Hazel very, very hard. I would be surprised if the young man manages to stay out in front for very long, but so far, so good. In fact, there we go. I mean, look at Hazel going through those corners. The downforce is clearly working in his favour, but then he loses it all through this bendy section of the track. That engine is clearly giving him something that he's not had previously. I suspect it's the suspension that's actually causing the problems now, because he is getting closed up on throughout the twistier sections of track. But the second he can put his foot down, and he is gone, just easily eating up the track ahead of the competition. Sean Mendez has crashed, so there we go. All of that big talk from Mendez for nothing. Hazel's going very nicely. Reverend Plastic just set the fastest sector time there, but as is the case last time that Hazel was out front, he's not pulling away from traffic. That's 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th there in a relatively close group, and obviously Hazel is holding them up. We need to have a quick look at the engine condition. Already dropped to 50%. Might be enough to get him through the race as long as he doesn't do it any further harm. But you know, it is a long way to go. Silveira's in 19th. Who cares? Ahead of one car only who crashed. Now Silveira doesn't have a great car this weekend, but neither does she have any excuses. There's nothing wrong with the car that she's got. Hazel there, 1,000th of a second ahead of Megahertz, who is in turn 2.5 seconds ahead of Steve Mush. So it is very close at the front of the pack. I think it's going to come down to tyre management to figure out what's going on. Now, Hertz is micromanaging his drive to a pretty high level. We'll run the engine a little bit softer for the time being, but we'll in order to try and preserve the engine for as long as possible. But when it comes to tyres, we'll be slightly less frugal. Given that we've done 5 laps, we've only got 4 laps of fuel left, and there is over 50% going on as far as the tyre condition is concerned. But that tyre temperature is starting to heat up, so I'm going to ease back again. Try and keep some life in those tyres, and then attack. Don't let him get close. Don't let him get close. We're going to micromanage the tyres while not overstressing the engine. This is the only way that we're going to be able to hold a decent pace with Hazel is if we do not thrash this car to death. There we go. Don't let them in. Don't let them in. Don't let them in. And there we go. They're past. Nuts. Well, that was a beautiful dream that ended. We're going to have to get on the engine a little bit more. Frankly, anything else is cowardice. Having a quick look at the forecast because we're coming up on Pittsville. There's still no sign of rain. A little bit more sunshine coming up, but it's holding at a very steady and civilized 17 degrees. Vanessa's just set a personal best from 17th place. She is making a little bit of headway, but, not enough for me to get excited. We'll talk to her again once she's back up into 12th. There we go. The tyres are now on their way out for Hazel. We'll tell him to come into the pits at his earliest convenience. We'll top up his fuel at the same time. Park condition, 43 left on the engine. It is a concern. We know it's a concern. The risk is 26% if we go for a fast pit stop. We're going to chance it. There we go. So he's straight into the pits. Now, hopefully this does not go horribly wrong. One of the blades of the front wing seems damaged. Action. Well, you're going to have to pit, aren't you? So that wasn't exactly ideal there. It sounds like Silvera's had a collision, but we're completely ignoring her while she's, not doing anything for the team. She might have a fresh focus on being a racing driver. But we need to see that proved out by her actually, racing. So having both drivers in at once is not ideal. But Hazel managed to come out in good time there. Maybe not the fastest pit stop we've ever seen, but he's come back out in 15th, and nobody else has yet pit. Let's take it a little easier on those tyres there, young man, and see where we get to with that. In fact, he's already munching through the tyres quite stringently. But hopefully he will be in a position to capitalise when the other drivers start to come in, which they are doing now. So here we go. Here's Hazel's big overtake streak. That's put him back up to 11th, which means we are back on target for the sponsorship payout. Mush, Kitasato, Moto, Puppet, Ruto, Thomas, Roe, Fodder, Hertz and Zero all have to come in and pit, which means that Henderson, I beg your pardon, Hazel, of all the drivers who have already pitted, is first on the track. The question is, given that he is now 36 seconds back from the leaders, is he going to be able to overtake sufficiently to capitalise? There we go, up into 4th. And the 3 leaders have still to come in. That's a very, very risky strategy from the leaders. Silvera, meanwhile, quietly, confidently, in 13th now, is looking pretty good. So Hazel's got 4th all to himself. He's got 7 seconds plus over the next driver on the track. There we go. 00 and Hertz are now into the pits. I don't think Hazel will get out in front of them. Fodder is also now in. Here we go. This could be... Hazel's up into 2nd. Back in second place, Nicholas Hazel. Now, obviously, he's going to have to come in ahead of the drivers who just came in on mediums. They're on mediums. So Hazel actually has some really aggressive tyres going on. Now, it's going to lead to him having to come in again. But if we can make hay during this session, then we could be in a good position. Now, let's have a look at the engine. Down to 31%. The engine is going to need some WD-40 and gaffer tape applying to it in order to hold the flaming thing together for the remainder of the race. But Hazel's putting on a terrific performance. And if anything, it just goes to show that that with that engine properly tuned up, maybe we could be a little more competitive. Hazel doesn't look like he's got the pace to hold off Megahertz, who is on medium tyres and very much right on his back bumper. And as it was at the start of the race, there is now a queue of traffic forming behind young Mr. Hazel, who is losing ground progressively over Hans 00, who is now just running away with this race. I don't think that's going to change. And we need to be thinking about when we're going to bring the young man in. Still no sign of rain in the forecast, although I do have to look quite closely at the screen to see that that's the case. He's going through the tyres, and the tyre heat is now up into the unfortunate area of things. We can ease back on the pressure that we're putting on them, but now that they are hot as a bandit, there is precious little we can do. Roe has opted to save her, pretty sure it's her tyres, who is also running super softs. Silvera there is still going, but actually we're going to ease off tyres there as well. The temperature of the tyres is dropping, so Hazel may still be able to continue the pressure that we've got going on right now. This is pretty exciting stuff. Hazel, for some reason, is still in second place, and it seems is actually making a little bit of a gap between himself and the next drivers. We've got one more lap out before we come in, and I will significantly regret not having a look at the engine when he comes in. So we're definitely going to lose places when he comes in next. And looking at how close it is, I suspect he may end up in 10th place overall. Silvera very much driving as an insurance policy right now. Well, that's just how it goes. So we will pass by the pit lane one more time, and then we will inform the young man that he should come in forthwith. And hopefully we will be able to get back out there without having to do a subsequent fix-up on the engine. Because, that would be bad, wouldn't it? There we go, he's going round. We'll tell him to pit this time. So we'll put super softs, we'll fill him back up. Apparently 9 laps remaining after he comes in. So we're not exactly going to be able to thrash it. Fixing the engine is going to be a very, very costly thing to do. But we're just going to do it. We'll try and we'll save an extra couple of seconds there by chancing it once more. But I'm not going to chance the engine. Not when we're in a decent position. And frankly, the extra 200 grand bonus could make a heck of a difference to our season overall. Right, Silvera also needs to come on in. We will put her out on medium tyres, given that she's now our insurance policy. Top up the fuel tank to get her through the rest of the race. The parts all look pretty good. Suspension's wearing a bit, but everything else is fine. And we'll stick her out with no risk at all. We'll just have to see how that pans out. Meanwhile, we're going to move back to Hazel. I know we've focused on him for the entire race so far. There we are. He's got the spanner flashing of, hello, my engine's in trouble. So I made the right call there, but frankly, that was not a call that everyone couldn't have predicted. So here we go. Now, can we get out of the pits a little quicker? Let's see. Here goes the engine change now. He's back out. It was a reasonable pit stop time, given the amount of work that we put in there. We can now be a little bit more aggressive on those tyres, given we switched to... No, we don't appear to have switched to mediums. Evidently, that was not something I did. Ho-hum. these things happen. So we are now in 14th and 15th overall. The cars ahead of us who have yet to pit are going to be worse off for fuel. We've got excess fuel to get over the finish line, so we shouldn't be running low there. But I'm going to hold that for hopefully for a late charge. Now we're going past a bunch of pitted drivers right now. Where can Hazel finish up? Only manages 9th. But Moto, Puppet, Ruto, Roe and 00 still have to come in. So I think a top 6, top 7 for Hazel is still doable, providing the car manages to hang together. And there's all evidence to say that will be the case. Silvera just outside where we needed to be. But again, she is driving as our insurance policy. We'll get her to push just a little bit more there. Hazel, it looks like, may only be able to get up to 8th as a result of subsequent pit stops, and it was just down to the need to repair that engine. So once again, it is reliability that has been our bête noire for this particular race. But a remarkable performance from Mr. Hazel, who once again shows that at the front of the grid he really can make a difference. Not the kind of difference that leads to us, challenging for the championship or anything like that, but certainly make a difference. Let's get this Joker Kitasato off our back bumper, shall we? What are we talking here? We're talking a couple of laps to go. Put your foot down, man. Give it large. Punch it, punch it, punch it. That's what we want from you right now. Silvera's tyres are actually a little on the cold side. So we'll thump it there. What are we looking at forecast-wise? It's going to stay dry for the rest of the race. It's fine. It would be nice to see Hazel set a personal best, maybe, as far as lap times are concerned. There we go. Tyres are starting to get a little too hot, so we'll ease back on them. But we'll keep him thumping the engine. I fixed it up thinking that, that would be a sensible thing to do. It would be quite nice to reel in trolley fodder. But fodder now is, what are we talking here, 9 seconds ahead? I can't see that happening. But, certainly protecting himself against the charging Thomas, who has now taken Kitasato, is a good way to go. Vanessa is complaining about her parts looking a bit rough. What are we talking here? The suspension and the gearbox are both looking a little bit hosed. Well, that's unfortunate, but I'm not bringing you in. We're desperate to make sure that we finish ahead of Predator this season, and frankly, this kind of performance is what we're going to need in order for that to happen. We can't depend on Predator being the worst team for the rest of the season, so we need to actually put in a decent performance at least once. An 8th would be considered decent based on how we've been doing so far. Cheeky! That's unreasonable. Thomas there capitalising on Hazel dithering to try and overtake. I guess that's Swan's plastic, and Hazel loses a place on the track. That's just. I'm not pleased. There you go. What do you need to know? Just not happy about that at all. We'll ease Silvera back some more. Don't want the car breaking down before the end of the race. She's not really going to get any further. Steve Mush is 6 seconds behind and closing. But hopefully she can hold it together for the last couple of laps in order to finish. I'll take 15th. 15th wouldn't be the end of the world. Henderson's had a mare. The championship leader is back in 16th. Just isn't competitive. Not looking to do anything at all there. Brakes seem quite spongy. What? You've got good brakes, dude. What have you done to them? 29%. They've got like 90% reliability normally. You've thrashed those brakes like a fat guy thrashes. I don't know. So yeah, Hazel's had a great day. He did have the better car. He has got amplified stats right now, and had everything to prove as a result. But he does seem to have come through. We're gonna. Oh, whoa! Hold everything. He's out of fuel. Hazel's run out of fuel. Hazel, you complete jackass. I do not believe it. Hazel's run out of fuel. He's going to limp round, and he's now only one place ahead. He's now in the place we need him to be. Oh, this is dire. And this is one of those things that you always risk when you've got exactly the right number of laps of fuel. Fortunately, Silvera just went through, which means that we are going to... I take everything back I was saying about Hazel. The idiot doesn't know how to drive. Yeah. So our insurance driver there getting through and securing 13th place. Hazel there throwing it all away on the final lap. What a disaster for Mr. Hazel, who could have been the hero of the hour and could have secured himself the better car for the remainder of the season. But between his heavy foot and my not keeping a firm eye on his usage of the car, that was dire. So there we go, confirmation, 15 points in total for Bulldozer Power in this race. Steve Mush there landing 6 for Predator, with Swans landing another 4. So we move ahead of Predator by another 5 points. Vanessa moving up a place ahead of Mendez in the championship, and Hazel moving up a place ahead of Swans Plastic. And confirming we're now 18 points adrift of Octane Racing, who is who we'd quite like to catch, but I can't see that happening. I'm no longer afeared of Predator Racing, who are having a stinker of a season, but then that is their role in this season. Julius Tillman, Bulldozer Powers PR, just sent me a bag of goodies. Yay! Smiley face, hashtag great stuff. Chris Shaw there. Hold on, hover over the right bit. Come on, make it look professional, man. Chris Shaw there. Really good result at Munich today, but we've got to keep pushing for a win. Okay. Tsukasa Morashiga, I guess. I want to see Bulldozer Power at the top. I just love those guys. Vanessa Silvera is so hot. Hashtag in love. Okie dokie. Motor Racing Magazine. Fairly average performance from Bulldozer Power. They must be looking enviously at Garuda. I'm not looking enviously at anybody. World Sports Network. Looks like Mendez is driving well this weekend. This is a flashback. We saw this already. Mendez stacked his car, dude. You don't know a damn thing about racing. So that will wrap up the results from Munich. It wasn't as good as it looked like it was going to be there for a little while. Hazel there just blowing it at the end. But 13th and 14th, surprisingly, I'm actually not that disappointed about. Kurt at plus 18% happiness. If happiness could be measured in a percentage fashion, Kurt would be 18 more right now. So yeah, a disappointing final result there, but you know, it is a result nonetheless. We are maintaining our position in 9th, which is what we promised to do. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this race. I've been Colonel Failure. Throw a like at it if you're enjoying the season, and subscribe to make sure you don't miss the rest of it. If you want to receive an immediate notification whenever the next video goes live, hit the little bell button down there to make sure that you're going to get notified. I've been Colonel Failure. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back very soon with the next race. Thanks for watching. Cheerio.